Hey, 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 it's T to the J, and it is Media Tip Monday. And I actually am outside sitting on my porch. I figured out where my rut has been for the last few weeks. I need to be outside working. There's something about the wind blowing and the sunshine, and I've been in real creative mode today. So I'm waiting to make sure that we are actually live and there's at least one person that is joining. So the first thing I want to talk about is the media tip that's coming out of Beyonce. So if you've been living under a rock, then maybe you don't know that Beyonce killed the game when she performed at this music festival, Coachella. And Coachella is pretty much a very white music festival that she was the first Black woman to headline it, which was a big deal. And it's kind of an issue. Like, it took y'all 20 years to get a first Black woman to headline it. But she came out and ended up doing the most blackety black of the black sets ever. And I am a proud Black college graduate, and her whole concert, an hour and a half, was straight out of paying tribute to Black colleges, paying tribute to Black culture. And like she came out, first it started out with a drum major, which is totally, Black college thing, revealed Beyonce. And then she had a fraternity and sorority stepping. And then what else did she do? She did swag surfing. Like, it couldn't have been any Blacker. And initially, I'm caught up in it because I'm a proud Howard alum. But then it dawned on me, like, she's not really playing to her audience. Like, her audience is white people. So why would she do this? But then it's like, it's Beyonce. She can do anything she wants and everybody would love it. I mean, Girlfriend sang the Black national anthem. That's how I knew it was going to be an interesting set when she actually came out and did the Black national anthem. And I was like, okay, so the people attending, they probably think, oh, Beyonce got a new single, because who knows that? But, Black people, really. And, it was one of those things, like, she really is not serving her audience, but she's Beyonce, so she can do whatever she wants. But then it hit me. Beyonce is really strategic. Beyonce makes calculated moves. Beyonce don't play when it comes to her slate. Ooh, I'm going to be a rapper when I grow up. You don't play when it comes to her slate. So it dawned on me, she was thinking broader. She was thinking, first of all, this is live stream. And she now has put Black colleges on the map. Like, I was reading somewhere where somebody said she got people in China tweeting they want to go to a Black college now. And then she came out this morning and it announced that she was doing scholarships to 4 HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. And it was one of those things, like, she knew what she was doing. She wasn't playing to her immediate audience. She was playing to her global audience. She knew that thing was going to spread like wildfire, and she took the opportunity to use her platform, her exposure, to bring exposure to the Black colleges. To, like, there was a part where Malcolm X was talking about the most, disrespected person on the planet is the Black woman. And then she had Nina Simone. And then it was just all these amazing elements where she was clearly making a statement and bringing Black excellence to the forefront. What does that mean for you? What does that translate for you? You still, every time you have your platform, every time you get your opportunity to make a statement, you have to be thinking of the long game. You have to be thinking, what is it that I want to happen after this interview? After I've spent an hour or, 15 minutes, or in a place of TV that you're doing 3 to 5 minutes, what is it that you want to have happen as a result of people seeing you? And you're thinking, yes, for that immediate audience, but then you also thinking of the broader audience. You're thinking about, the people who are not watching it live, but they may go and hear it on the internet. So you want to always keep that in mind. That's the Beyonce tip. Number 2, So I told you guys, I think last week, that I've come into a season of just obey. And because of me just obeying, I landed on the radar of a rocket scientist, amazing woman. Her story is phenomenal. Like, I'm so enamored by her journey. Like, she has launched some of the most, like, discovery. Then she launched, it was like she named 30 that she was a part of launching into space. And it's like, you are pretty dope. And so she has a talk show called Answers Unleashed that she asked me to be a guest on. And I agreed. And so we thought we were going to be doing a segment around, media. That's what pretty much all of my interviews have been. So we thought we were going to be doing a segment around media and publicity tips and things like that. And so we had worked it out on paper or what have you. And then she called me. Well, actually, I got 2 tips out of this. So she called me and we started talking about the segment. And so she then says to me, Watij, I've been doing some research on you, and I see that you have a whole other background that has really nothing to do with media, and I was wondering if you would be willing to talk about it. And what she's talking about is my domestic violence journey. And I was like, sure, I'm an open book. And so it ended up where we ended up having to, shape a different segment. And the first tip out of that I didn't write down, but the first tip that came to mind with that is she ended up Googling me. She ended up doing her homework on me. She ended up researching me. So the tip for you is you've got to be mindful of what is out there about you. You've got to be mindful of what you're posting on social media. You've got to be mindful of how you even come across on social media, because producers and editors of magazines, they vet you. They want to see who they're dealing with. So they're coming straight to your social media pages. They're Googling you. So you got to be mindful of what you post. Fortunately for me, like, I don't really have anything out there that I'm an open book. Y'all know that. The second tip that came out of, my conversation with her was the U of Spunk. Remember, I have an acronym called Spunk, really how to crush your interview. You show up with sparkle, you show up prepared. And the U is you show up understanding it's a partnership. That back and forth with her, she'll tell you that the first thing when she asked me, well, Teach, what do you really want to talk about? I was like, well, whatever your viewers, your listeners need to hear from me. That's going back to the Beyonce tip. She knows her viewers, her listeners better than I do. So I want to serve them. I want to keep them in mind. But at the same time, when we were talking about and getting into the media part, she started realizing where her shows, they want to hear about the journey. They want to hear about my resilience. They want to hear about me finding my voice. And so I understood it was a partnership. So I wasn't so firm and no, we must talk media. No, I am flexible because I never know who's going to be listening to an interview. Now, don't get it twisted. Somewhere in the interview, it's still going to come up who TJ is. I am the chief noisemaker of the Media Mavericks Academy, where I get to teach authors, experts, coaches, and entrepreneurs how to book themselves in these media streets like ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. You can do it without a publicist and without being a celebrity. That's going to come up somewhere in the conversation. So I'll still be planting those seeds. Even though we may be talking about domestic violence, we may be talking about me launching Media Mav, whatever we're talking about, that is still on how I craft my sound bites, how I prepare my talking points. That's still going to come out in the interview. So you understand that it is a partnership with the producers. I am flexible. I am about serving their listeners, their audience, their viewers. Remember, WIIFTVTLTR. What's in it for the viewer? What's in it for the listener? What's in it for the reader? And then finally, the last tip is Starbucks. Again, you may have been living under a rock if you don't know that Starbucks is in hot water. I posted it, I think on Saturday, but I didn't go into a lot of detail. But you know, 2 Black men were arrested which was foul, and because all they were doing was sitting there waiting for their friend to arrive, and a manager called the police. They ended up being arrested, and social media is on fire. The regular traditional media is on fire, talking about this. And so, regardless of where you stand on it, this is not about opinions. Regardless of where you stand on it, and I made a demand out of my Media Mavericks last night during our normal Q&A that I am demanding. I have one Maverick that is in HR, and then I have another Maverick that his brand is leadership. And so I made a demand that they are going to newsjack this story. Now, newsjacking, if you don't know what newsjacking is, go to newsjacking101.com. I go into it way deeper, but newsjacking is basically taking a current event, a social media trend, something that's happening that everybody's talking about, and using it for your brand. What does that look like in the case of Starbucks? For a leader, it could be, 4 ways that the Starbucks CEO nailed it, of how he handled this, or 4 ways why he missed the mark. You can insert yourself into that conversation. Do it as a blog post. If you invest in Pimp Your PR, which is at pimpyourpr.com, I teach you how to pitch it to actual media outlets, but it's not stopping you from inserting yourself into the conversation, even on your own pages. The second thing is what hit me is in HR. I was having a conversation with one of my Facebook friends from my perspective, and this is just my opinion. This has nothing to do with your opinion. I'm just giving you for context. So I was having a conversation, and I was saying that, the CEO, yes, he came out and admitted that there was wrong done to these 2 Black men. He owned that. But then, he's getting dragged because he has not fired, he didn't fire the woman immediately, the manager immediately. And from my standpoint, I'm like, okay, there's employment laws that he has to adhere to. I don't know if it's even, where we have to even go by state, if there's federal employment laws and state employment laws that he has to adhere to. So he's just got to make sure he knows a lawsuit is coming on behalf of these 2 brothers. So he's trying to actually limit, for me, I'm thinking he's probably trying to limit his exposure, because if he doesn't follow protocol and follow the law with firing the manager, that's another potential lawsuit coming. So from an HR perspective, if you are an HR expert, what does that look like? Are you insinuating yourself into the conversation? Thank you, Olympia. There's my rocket science. Hi, Olympia. Are you insinuating yourself into that conversation so that you can be positioned as the expert? So I want you to do that. Another angle you could come at is, if you are an expert in PTSD, he did end up firing it. Okay, did he fire them, Olympia? Because it says she's no longer at that store. That doesn't say fired to me. That says they may have moved her to another location, where, like I saw today, that they brought in some Black people from other Starbucks and put them at the Starbucks that's having the problem. So I don't know that for sure. That's the other key of newsjacking. You want to make sure you know the facts. All right. So, what can come from the standpoint of how this affected the gentlemen who according to reports, they were real estate brokers. How does that affect them? Will they have PTSD? What happens in these traumatic events? So there's several different ways. You can look at. You trying to show me something? Okay, so there's certain different ways that you can look at, and my buddy just said, you keep saying insinuating. Oh, that's not what I meant. I meant inserting yourself, okay? Injecting yourself into the conversation. I know the difference. I just was slipping. But when you're looking at these events, find where you actually can position yourself as the expert and make some noise. If you go read the free guide at newsjacking101.com, I give you case study after case study after case study that what I'm saying to you can catapult you in the media quick, fast, and in a hurry. So If you are an expert at, police and the legal issues surrounding, was it if you're an attorney, was it a justifiable arrest? The police, I think it was the police commissioner, came out and said, he stands behind his officers. They didn't do anything wrong. So you can actually speak on that. Whatever your brand is, insert yourself into it. All right. So that was really quick. I wanted to actually just point that out to you. Hopefully it helps. Know your audience, understand it's a partnership, and get the newsjacking. Leverage the heck out of this. And then, guys, you got to move on this quickly. You have to move on this quickly. You cannot wait three weeks from now, and then want to pitch it. No, the time to strike is now. All right. So again, Newsjacking Guide is at newsjacking101.com. And if you need to dig deeper, you can also start at pimpyourpr.com. And this is Media Maverick Media Tip Monday. That's a lot of M's. Media Maverick Media Tip Mondays. Let me actually say that 50 times fast. All right. So I'm out. I'm getting back into the lab. Bye.